Hey, closet busters and bold move makers. It is time once again for Life Uncloseted. So I want you to gather around because it is time once again to kick down those closet doors of your life. We're here to escape our BS, explore our fears, and elevate our self-expression. I'm your host, Rick Clemons. I'm the bold move expert and that coming out guy who's going to take you to the party, the pulpit, the wake, and back to the party of living your life uncloseted. So come on along with me and grab hold of yourself and get ready to step out, step up, and step into facing your fears, making your bold moves, and living life without apologies. Now let's get to the show. Hey, Life Uncloseted family. It is time once again for another episode of Life Uncloseted. And ironically, I know a lot of you are feeling a little bit closeted given this pandemic we are experiencing in the world. But I also want you to remember that if you're feeling like you just can't move your life forward, you're having a little struggle with everything that's going on, I invite you to go to nofearsnoexcuses.com. Take the unapologetic life assessment, see what you might be able to do to move your life forward. So let's get to the show. This is a solo show with just me. Yes, you're going to have to put up with just Rick today. But I felt very compelled, given what's going on in the world, to truly address the issue that everybody's living in the closet now. And even though some countries are starting to move about, and countries like Sweden have kind of moved things about, and different states are now opening up here in the United States, every one of you have now had the experience of what it feels like to live in the closet. And I believe that for many of us, this is going to be a game-changing point in our lives where we have been challenged to step into our closets and rethink things, to reevaluate, to see what's truly important. And I know for me, I've been working through this off and on for the past 4 to 6 weeks, whatever it's been. And I'm realizing how much stuff I don't need. I'm realizing how many things in my life I am doing fine without. Sure, I'm missing certain things, but it's not like, oh my God, I can't get by. And what I really would hope for all of us, as you think about the closet you're in right now, is that as we get ready to transition back into whatever life looks like after this, that you think about the positive coming out things that have come out in your life. And I know that sounds redundant to say the coming out things that have come out in your life, but maybe you've taken up a new hobby. Maybe you find you're a whole lot less stressed. Maybe you're really enjoying the clear blue skies because there's not so much traffic on the road. Could be that you have a lot less desires, maybe less desires for food or drinks or shopping. Any of these things that are showing up. Maybe you feel more energized and engaged and you've started some new positive habits and you're taking a fresh look at everything around you. Whatever it is, these are the positive coming out things. And when I'm working with individuals coming out of the closet, I have them actually make a list of the positive things that are actually going to happen when they release themselves to truly kick that door open, step out, and sashay in to the life they're meant to be living. I also ask them to create the negative list because you see, we got to balance the two. We can't address the positive a lot of times until we've dealt with the negatives, because oftentimes when we can look at the negatives, we will hold them in our beautiful little hands or big hands, whatever you have, and realize until I resolve that, I can't get to the positive. And given how we've all been isolated and put into these spaces, now I work from home, so this wasn't really a huge stretch for me, but there was a moment that I was like, this is sucking. What I feel like is happening for many of us is we could go the other direction, that we could allow this to take us into a really negative space. And not because we're depressed, not because we don't know how to handle things. Those things are happening for some people. I do realize that, and I'm not discounting that one bit. But I want you to think about the things you're being deprived of. Because as human beings, as soon as we start to be deprived of something, we want it more. And then the opportunity comes to have that, and then we will consume voraciously. And that's what I want you to really consider how you're going to approach life. So for instance, think about a time as a young kid, and I'm going to just use this as the metaphor, that mom is making yummy, yummy chocolate chip cookies. Go for the Toll House ones if that's what really can help you see this in your beautiful mind. And you walk in the kitchen and you start to reach for that cookie. And what does mom say? You can't have that until after dinner. And then maybe you started to throw a little fit and like, but mom, God, I want to. No, not until after dinner. And you threw the fit and you threw the fit. And then next thing you know, it's like, go to your room. And the next thing you know, you can't have a cookie now after dinner. And so you just want it more and more and more and more. And then as soon as you get the opportunity to have the cookie, one of two things happens. You have no desire for it, or you want more than just a cookie. You want 10 cookies. And I think this is going to happen to a lot of people. And in some ways, maybe to myself, I'm trying to think, okay, where are the things that I might suddenly go, okay, let's overconsume. Maybe you like wine. Maybe you like wine tasting. And so as soon as this frees up, maybe you're going to go like dive in deep into wine tasting or drinking too much wine. And I'm not judging. I'm just using this as examples. In our LGBTQ world, and for all the single LGBTQ individuals, and even anybody who's not LGBTQ, maybe going on dates, maybe having some sexual hookups is something that you're missing. And then suddenly when this is lifted, you're just going to go. Maybe in some ways, you might take some risks that you haven't taken before. It's all about realizing we may go to the opposite extreme because we have put into the opposite extreme of isolation. And to watch ourselves and to realize we're going to come out of these closets. We are going to come out of these closets of isolation, closets of social distancing, closets of feeling alone, closets of feeling like I'm climbing the walls, closets of being in spaces with our kids or our spouses. And we could either come out of those closets in a very healthy, positive manner, or we might just come out of those closets with some overconsumption, some addiction tendencies, some don't tell me what to do. I'm going and do this because I have been deprived. And this happens oftentimes with someone who's coming out of the closet as an LGBTQ individual. We have been deprived so much to be who we are that suddenly when we do come out, then we want to go be everything. We want to have lots of same sex. We want to go party. We want to go be part of pride. And none of that is bad in and of itself. But there's always the possibility of the addiction. And I've worked with so many people coming out of the closet where, whether it's sex, alcohol, drugs, overeating, overexercising, overconsuming of material things, just because now I get to be who I am. And it becomes really counterproductive. And how do you keep that from happening? How do you prevent the negative coming out? And how do you create the positive coming out? Well, it happens with these 6 steps. You're going to kind of be in a place of confusion no matter what that closet is that you're coming out of. And I've talked about this a little bit before in previous podcasts, but I feel like it's really something that should be shared today because we're going to start seeing things happen where parts of the world are going to open up and other parts aren't. And so some people are going to be able to come out of their closets of isolation while others aren't. And if you're not able to do these things, you might need a little process. And here's my process for coming out of any closet. Number 1, you start in a place of confusion. No matter what's going on right now, in some way, you're probably confused. Can I do this? Can I not do this? Should I be wearing a mask? Should I not be wearing a mask? Should I be outside and exercising and social distancing or not? In order to get through the confusion and in order to figure out what's next, you're going to have to start getting really curious. So step 2 is getting really curious, asking the right questions. Not can I or can't I, but using the why, when, how, what, where sort of questions, the open-ended questions. Because the more curious you get with open-ended questions, the questions that you cannot just flippantly answer yes or no, the more you will figure things out. You will get your answers. And as we begin to get those answers and we move from curiosity, we start to build our courage, the courage to venture forth. And there's going to be some people that are going to be a little bit gun shy to go venture forth back into the world in certain ways. But by becoming curious, you'll build the courage to show up. Maybe you're going to show up completely focused on something different than you were before. Some of us are going to be maybe afraid to even walk into a bar or a restaurant. But by becoming curious and building your courage, you're going to be able to move forward. And as you get that courageous energy starting to formulate, then what you're able to do is you're commit to where you're going. You're able to commit to, this is my path. And from that commitment, you will start to feel more confident. And the more confident you feel, the more consistently you can show up out of the closet in the way that you most want to show up. So as we wrap up this episode of Life Uncloseted, I want to leave you with a couple of questions. Are you going to come out of the closet of this experience in a positive way, enlightened, alive, energized? Or are you going to choose to come out in a negative way where you're maybe in some addiction mentality, maybe in your like screw everybody mentality, maybe you're in a space of it's all about me? Or are you going to let yourself step into the positive light of I'm coming out of the closet and I'm going to be authentically how I now choose to show up in the world, and I'm going to let myself take the stuff that I've discovered about who I can be in this challenge and step forward in a way that helps you never stop stepping out, stepping in, and stepping up to dumping your excuses, facing those fears, and living your life unapologetically. That is my hope for every one of you, that you find a pathway using those 6 steps I provided, breaking out of the confusion, getting curious, building your courage, committing to a new direction for your life, confidently stepping into it, and consistently showing up. Stay safe, stay healthy, and live your life uncloseted. Hey, Life Uncloseted family. Another episode of Life Uncloseted has come to an end, and it is time for all of us to sashay away and go face our fears, make those bold moves, and stand up to living our life without apology. But before you do, I've got a favor to ask of you. Would you hop over to iTunes or Spotify or Podbean or wherever it is that you're listening to this and just give us a little bit of love if you like what we're doing here at Life Uncloseted. Here's what it does. It helps other people find the show. It helps other people get to know what we're all about. And you just might help change your life. In fact, if you really want to change your life, we'd love it if you just ask a friend to take a listen and see what they think. So that's it. Love you all deeply. I'm Rick Clemons, the host of Life Uncloseted, and never stop stepping out, stepping up, and stepping into living your life uncloseted.